is this something where we're going to make the door a little bit like anthropomorphic, where it's going to pull out a little bit? Or do you feel like we want to keep this door as if it's not even moving at all? Like it's completely like this person is, like Sam is putting all their might into it. I'm putting lines around them to kind
Mhm.
of give them that, like, like they're really, really struggling with this. And then it's just not budging. Like, what's your thought?
I think it should be not budging. I think it should be, like, glued to the wall, and I think also, like, we had talked about that, like, the door sort of morphs over the span of the story, and I think right now it should look like the most innocuous, normal-looking door,
Mm.
so that as it kind of builds its personality over the pages, we see it change, and right now what makes it so weird, off-putting, and a little bit creepy is the fact that it just looks like a regular door. Why is it not opening?
So do you feel like so this is a little different than the original drawing.
Mhm.
Um, like, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like this is more appropriate, or do I have to go back to the drawing board and like rework this? What's your
No,
thought
I
about
think
that?
this is working really well. Yeah. I
It
think this has got
feels
the right feel, the right motion. It's got the energy of Sam trying really hard and the door just being a door, locked, not opening. I think this panel's working really, really well now.
okay. Yeah, I can't tell. I'm a little bit too into this to again, this is when I told you from the beginning, you're gonna run into this where you're like, there's something about this that works. But now that I'm looking at it a little bit more, I'm thinking it doesn't feel like it's like it just feels like the person is about to open the door, and it just feels like the door may or may not be an issue, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, there is for sure like that Sam's struggling. Like the
Yeah,
door
I
is
think that the previous one almost looked like what was happening just before this one, right? Like, it's almost like we took the next moment in time, so the way that it was drawn before was, like, when they first got to the door and tried to open it. Now we're, 10 seconds later where things have gotten really more interesting, quite frankly, right? Like, this is probably the more interesting moment where now Sam isn't just like, "Oh, this door needs to open." Sam is like, "Why isn't this door opening?"
cool.
Which I think is actually, from the storytelling point of view, I think it's actually working stronger than how it was before, um, because it does have a bit more angst in it, like a little bit more frustration.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I'm not sure I'm completely happy with the panel, but I can say that it's I now know what exactly it need. Like before, to your point, it was like a different moment, and maybe it wasn't reflecting the any of the dialogue and be like, why can't I open this? Like that kind of
Mhm.
thing. This to me is like, oh, they cannot open the door. Right.
Yes.
And I'm actually even thinking I'm going to have them like holding their wrist. I just thought of that'd
Oh,
be
yeah, like
helpful.
trying to, like, give some leverage. Yeah, like, this is a person who isn't just a little bit like, "Oh, this door isn't opening. Oh, well." This is someone who's like, "Why isn't this door opening? What is going
Yeah.
on here?"
I think maybe this is the part that the back leg is maybe
Mm,
I'm not sure if I'm crazy about the back leg. So I'll just save it. And then maybe it's like a matter of let's see if there's like another that may something like that. I don't know. Well, we're
mhm.
going on an hour here, so we could always maybe I'll put a little bit more into this, but um I may just have to like see if I can reference this. So when it comes to reference, I said we were going to talk a little bit more about that as well. I'm trying to do as much of this from my imagination as possible. Like I'm trying to like use my, like mind
Mhm.
reference library. Uh, and because I'm doing this live is one of the things I wasn't sure would be in a bit of an issue, which is like I would actually at this point I'd probably like be much more careful in regards to like figuring out the structure and seeing if I can find reference for it and all that kind of stuff. Um, and right now I'm not doing it because I want to like also be able to I don't want to move away from the screen too long.
Right.
So um again, like I can talk, I think, through these things, but also, um, I may have to like now that I've seen this, I can actually like see if I can find or create this um pose and make sure I've got it right. Because I'm not thinking it is at this moment. Like the way that so you've got the shoulders askew, you've got the hips, I think are working, but the legs, I'm having a bit of difficulty. Uh, so you saw me create like a perspective.
Yep.
If I bring this down, I have to decide, do I want the legs like as if one leg is like kind of already almost on the ground?
Well, that's actually what it was starting to look like, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, it's almost like, when you pull so hard, it's like you almost the back leg slipped out from underneath them, right? Like, it's almost like they're turning with so much force that their knees almost on the ground for leverage.
Yeah, and that's just it. I don't know if that's what I want or if
Mhm.
that if because I'm trying to also create like a as you can see, I'm trying to make it like a line of motion that kinda so where
Yep.
the door is very like angular, I'm trying to make this really curvy, like give it like so that we have the energy kind of pulling um
Yeah.
right. So you see these lines I'm creating that are gonna be like uh almost like lines of movement in ways. Um, I'm getting there. Like it is for sure. I'm getting there closer. I'm seeing it a little bit better. Um, I'm feeling like it's this is just like a really kind of complicated uh movement in some ways because you're like what would it be to be on your like trying to find like I'd actually maybe even I here's something guys go out and try this take see if you can
Let us
like
know.
get somebody to take a photo of you doing it at the proper angle, and then
Yes.
using that as a reference, right? Because that would give you a better idea of like what would happen when you pull at something that's locked like this. I haven't done that. So
Well, and I think what's really interesting is actually what you had just mentioned about like, the really angular and then more curved is it's also like one object has zero motion and the other has all the motion, right? So just seeing that in practice of like the door being so rock solid and still and all of that motion being in Sam's body um, also makes for a really, really interesting visual.
yeah, exactly. And that's it. There's so many things to think about. Like I'm trying to go with somewhere between a real movement, but also a caricaturized
Yep.
movement to give it more dynamic energy. And so, is that what's happening here? I think so, but is this actually also, as I said, like but it's okay if I can fudge this a little bit in regards to um, like the anatomy, if the anatomy wouldn't exactly do this exactly, like if the person, so like one thing I may want to think about doing is maybe it's like elongating this a little bit. I don't know,
Mm,
like
yeah, like the aren't like really, yeah,
like making that hand a little bit longer than it would actually be as it's pulling, not to
yeah.
make it too like I haven't actually drawn the um doorknob properly here. So let's see if the person's grabbing onto the wrist, they have the doorknob, they're holding it. So you're going to see some of the door. Again, these are very fine movements. Um, and then exaggerating this. So I'm getting closer.
I
That's
think the exaggeration's helping, right? Because it is making it feel more awkward in a good way.
yeah. Right, exactly. So I'm trying to again, I told you about like silhouettes. I'm trying to make this like a
Mhm.
really interesting silhouette. It may not know exactly what's happening, but if I were to fill this in with black, I'm hoping that you would get a sense of what was going on here.
Yeah,
Um,
for
but
sure.
it's yeah, for sure. It's not a there's parts of this that are exaggerated a little bit, and then parts of this that are probably accurate, and then, like, how do I play around with that? Like, how do I make it so that it's like, you know, I could even go in here and warp this a little bit. well, this character, not the door, but we do it this way, right? So if you're working traditionally, um, again, you just go with like your any kind of paper you have to play around and um, seeing if you can like if you were to take even if you were to uh let's say try to find reference that skews things a little bit like this and then seeing what exactly is going on to get that kind of worked. It again, there's no um this is a lot of this maybe gut, like you may go, I feel like I just need this to like be a little bit more like warped in a way, but even though it's not uh accurate, right? It's more feeling. And it just
Mhm.
feels right. It has like there's something about it that just makes it feel like this is something that you can you're actually viscerally getting this feeling that the door is not budging, even though
Mhm.
the person's yanking. Um, so do you think this matches up with the energy that's going to happen
I
in the
do.
next school,
I
which
do.
is going
I
to
think
be
that's actually working really well because I do feel like the door being so solid and the energy and Sam kind of like the motion being a little warped and twisting and turning, like it feels uncomfortable in a good way, right? Like it feels the energy feels right now in this frame.
yeah. I'm feeling it too. Like I'm not. It's not. I don't know if you'd see that. So you almost seeing that the doorknob, but the neck of the door. I have to actually. I just realized I may have to shrink Sam down a bit because the door is maybe a little bit too big or too small, I should say. There we go. That's a little bit. Make the door bigger. There we go. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
even that, like making Sam a little smaller and the door feels super intimidating now, in a good way.
yeah. I think I'm getting there. I think that there's for sure. I wasn't gonna. Now I'm not gonna necessarily draw anything else that would be in the room, but
Mhm.
if you want to finish it, like your eye would, there would be like a line going this way and miss the top of the go this way, and maybe right in the corner here would be have that closet, the first closet. This stuff I'm just putting in here just for
Mhm.
my own benefit, but also to uh, show the viewer like what how this would if the room was completely drawn out, like where
Mhm.
things located and stuff like that. So actually you wouldn't see any of the window.
No.
It'd be that's the other thing too. Sometimes it's good to draw this stuff out to kind of like make sure you're like, okay, I see how this is where things are located a little bit better now that I've seen it. You draw through things. If you can't see like the arm completely, you can draw through the arm as I just did there to make sure, oh, okay, yeah, that's accurate. Right. I think I'm as I said, I may exaggerate the wrist a little bit, maybe a little bit longer than it actually is, but um thrust this hip out a little bit more. Yeah, it is starting to feel like
Mhm.
it's different. So it's so different from the original. But I think I think it's working.
Well, because it was almost in the original, Sam was very much right in front of the door just holding the knob, and now it's like Sam's whole body is twisted to the side in an effort to pull harder. Um, it does feel like about 10 seconds after the original, right? Like, the original was approaching the door, and now this is fighting with the door.
Yeah. And I guess it does make sense, like, so the next scene is gonna be
Mhm.
the, on the phone going,
Yeah.
"Hey," what the heck?
Yeah, and this feels like that's motivated now, right? Like, Sam
Yeah,
just fought with this door, and now, now it's like, "Okay, well, I gotta call somebody because this is ridiculous," right?
yeah,
Um, and I feel like Sam really looks like they gave it a good try before giving up and calling somebody to see what was going on.
yeah. Okay, so the question is, so here's where this is like one of those things where I think the doorknob may be up here realistically, but how do I do that?
Mm,
Make it more Sam more on the side. Okay. But maybe that means so do you think there's a world where Sam's even like using their foot to push on the door a little bit?
yeah, there could be, like, a foot on the wall kinda beside the door to give a bit of leverage. Like, they're almost, like, right, like, against it, like, foot like, just really yanking. Like, that really feels like someone who's really trying to get a door open.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that. Yes. Maybe. Okay. That might work. Yeah, like these are all little things that I wouldn't have thought about until I actually started to one
Mhm,
problem, you get one problem, then you try to solve it, and then you see something else, and you're like, oh, well, maybe this will work now that you can try this, and then um, like as you kind of start working through all the problems and solutions, you start to, okay, so yeah, they're leaning their foot
mhm.
against the wall to kind of give them a bit better.
Yeah,
Um,
they're really trying to pull the other knees down on the ground, like, yanking. Um,
yeah, this is uh, like this is why. So even though I would say like as I said, there's like 90% figured out, like the
we
10%.
picked the panel that was gonna be the most complicated to start with.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and it does feel pretty good. So here's the thing. Even though I drew all of that to show where um the rest of the wall was, I think I'm going to I don't want it there because it anchors him anchors Sam too much.
Mhm.
I want Sam to be flowing a little bit
Yep.
uh in this scenario. Um so I guess the way to look at this too, I haven't even drawn in the shadow because I wanted to figure out the pose, but just real quickly, you'd have like the shadow from the door, and you would probably have something like this on the wall here or on the door itself, right? So the
Mhm.
shadow is going to be on the door. Same shadow is going to be on the door, right? If the light from the window, which is over here somewhere,
Mhm.
back over there, is kind of shining on Sam. Um, and then you're gonna. I'm not going to worry too much about that at the moment, but yeah. So I think this it's interesting. Yeah, for sure. I like the this gesture.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have thought that this is where we're gonna go with this, but this is where we went. I'm going
It's
to
funny,
say,
Sam has slowly just turned to the side, right? When it first started, Sam was pretty much straight on, and then over the course has sort of pivoted their back foot and ended up sort of aligned with the wall.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. This is a little bit more of an intricate, more difficult kind of pose,
Mhm.
and still trying to work out the hand there, like how that's um whether it's the one hand that the wrist is being held by the other, right? I'm not sure. Um, anyway, I need to get a little distance from it because then
Yeah, well, this was like that, panel on page 4 that we spent a lot of time debating it back and forth. I think this is at a really good spot. So, yeah, taking a step away from it and coming back and seeing how you feel is probably better because I think it is working now.
yeah, yeah. So, we'll leave it at that. I mean, it's quite we don't know, like, how long it's gonna take, for each panel, and as I said, this is still rough, so I would consider, if I look at this again, I may, uh, like, impose another do another drawing on top of it to work out a little bit more and then get a little bit more
Mhm.
refined from there. And some of the other poses I may not or some of the other panels I may not do that. I may get it right the first time.
Yeah, and a lot of them are a lot less complicated too. A lot less going on,
Potentially.
a lot less movement. Not all of them. Some of them are just as complicated, but there's some that are, a little bit more straight up. But that one was a doozy. That one had a
Mhm.
lot of story to tell in a panel. So
Yeah. But the more I look at it, the more it feels good. I
yeah,
like it. So,
yeah, I
we'll
agree.
see.
I like it.
We'll see.
It's working. Excellent. Well, thank you for watching, and we will be back with more next time.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.